Hey, to those of you who watch my streams, you're cool. But also, sorry about not streaming. Been on vacation, forgot to tell anyone. Still having a great time, though, so be happy for me. In my absence, though, news has been happening, if you can believe it. If you've been paying attention at all, you've probably seen that the Republicans didn't do so good. Didn't do so good on the 7th in the 2023 elections, most notably in Ohio, after Republicans attempted to pass and then failed to pass an initiative that would have raised the threshold for state constitutional amendments to 60% of the vote rather than 50, which they wanted to do only so the known following constitutional amendment proposal to ratify the right to an abortion in the state constitution would fail. That failed. And then Ohio issue 1, the attempt to make that amendment to make a right to an abortion part of the state constitution, passed. So Ohio, thank you, the Rizzler, etc. By a pretty wide margin, too. This is huge, actually. I expected a win in Ohio on this because, after all, the previous referendum went our way. But what is this, 13.2 point difference? That is a lot better than I thought, especially for Ohio, you know? I mean, it's not, it's not California over here. It went really, really well. And, in part, I'd like to thank the Progressive Victory people, the fine canvassing and phone banking folks that you can join, by the way. You can help them. You can help them do good. They did good here. I attribute the 500,000 vote difference in the results here entirely to their efforts. I think, if nothing else, this is a reminder of I've been saying this for a while, and I'm not the only one to have said this, The Republicans really are like the dog that caught up to the car and don't know what to do with it, namely with abortion. If you look like state by state, if you really ask people, and there's literally like hundreds of polls that show this over and over, people like having the option to have an abortion if they want. And this isn't even accounting for those hypocrites who will lie. And on a poll, they'll say they would never condone an abortion or whatever, but then would personally get it done if they needed to. And there are a lot of people like that. But even for people who are honest enough to admit that they want the option open available, that's a majority of the country. I mean, we saw this back in Kansas. Or even in Kansas, deep red Kansas, they could not get rid of their right to an abortion enshrined in the state constitution. That referendum failed. What were the margins of that again? Hold on. Kansas abortion referendum. Here we go. NPR, tell me the truth. Yeah, look at this. This was an even wider margin than with Ohio, because usually people have a sort of bias towards the status quo, so that makes sense. 59 to 41, an 18-point difference in favor of keeping the constitutional amendment that protects the right to an abortion in Kansas. I mean, this is like an issue that hits really close to home to people. A lot of the abstract stuff that gets talked about in Washington, certainly the culture war stuff that Republicans are always talking about, Dylan Mulvaney doing a Bud Light ad, trans bathrooms, litter boxes in school bathroom, and this nonsense, how much does it affect your life day to day? None. Zero. No effect whatsoever. No correlation. Dead. But the right to an abortion, that's most people are gonna at some point in their life really grapple with like the legality of abortion in their state. That's a thought they're gonna have either because their girlfriend has missed like a period or whatever, or they themselves are the girlfriend, if you can imagine such a thing. And at the very least, it's a thought that passes through their mind. A last option, a final resort. Nobody likes getting an abortion. It's an invasive procedure. It costs money, if you can imagine that, in this healthcare system we have. So it's, people care about it, is what I'm saying. And as a consequence of that, I think the Republicans have kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit when it comes to their electoral viability. They have skewed the female vote even further against them. And, it's not like guys don't want abortion to be legal, on average either. A bit of a scary thought, just sort of accidentally impregnating someone. And that's just, that's your life now. Just congratulations, locked in, So it is what it is, and what it is great. Other notable victories are in Virginia. Democrats just narrowly took both the House and the Senate. So Greg Youngkin, it's Greg Youngkin. I always mispronounce that name. Glenn Youngkin. Glenn Youngkin. There's something of Glenn Youngkin. I feel like that should be memorable, but to me, it's not. That name rolls right off the smooth, wrinkleless, surface of my brain, like rain on tile. Glenn Youngkin. Anyway, so Dems have taken both sides of the legislature in Virginia, leaving only the governor in the Republicans' big boy toddler chair, which is very funny because Glenn Youngkin has long had ambitions of being kind of a front running, like loud, ambitious, aggressive Republican, governor who might have presidential ambition. He's postured himself as kind of a front runner in the culture war battle. So to see both of his House and the Senate taken from him is incredibly funny. So we love that. Moms for Liberty, that Nazi group based out of Florida that really likes Ron DeSantis, apparently had some pretty key losses in their various elections as well. Let me see if I can. When I say Nazi, I mean Nazi, by the way. These bitches. I mean, the DeSantis campaign is Hitlerite enough as it is, but like there was that incident where a person in a meeting called for like a moment of silence for like the Holocaust or something, and the Moms for Liberty girls were like tittering and making noises and like faking a cough the entire time. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Moms for Liberty candidates take a beating in some school races. The far-right group school board candidates did not fare well in several important ballots across the U.S. This is critically important as well because this like your child is being corrupted by groomers in academia. We need to protect them by being like aggressively Hitlerish and as like suburban parents. That's a big wedge for Republican votes right now. Like that's why they hinge so much of their rhetoric on like parental rights over children. It's because they want their local parents to get crazy invested and like show up at school board meetings and throw out bomb threats like they all follow libs of TikTok and Twitter or whatever. That's their goal. That's their aim. That's what they want. They crave this. So for them to do poorly is pretty important. Key battleground for Moms for Liberty was Pennsylvania, where the group endorsed over 50 candidates in some 28 districts. In 2021, Moms for Liberty claimed credit for 33 seats in Bucks County, claiming the 8 of 13 districts now have a majority of school board members that value parental rights. Again, that's like, for them, this is like a big... Parental rights in this case means like your children are property, and they want to groom the kids rather than like imagining like some trans or gay teacher or whatever does it. Ahead of Tuesday's election, Moms for Liberty endorsed only a single candidate in the county. Yeesh. Though some of this year's candidates in Philadelphia suburbs sympathetic to the extreme org may have feared that an outright endorsement from the organization could have scared off moderate voters, according to Pennsylvania Inquirer. That'd be good to know. A voter guide from the group earlier this year recommended candidates in 5 districts, but stressed the messaging was not an official endorsement. That's huge. If they're concerned enough about their optics that they don't even feel comfortable giving strong recommendations, like, that's huge. All 5 of the Republican candidates in Central Bucks, who had been embroiled for years by cultural woes, were included in the guide. But after Tuesday's vote, the district school board was swept by Democrats who won 5 seats. Hell yes. Very, very good. We losing on that front is critical, of course, because we really don't want Republicans to have like sole control over the helicopter parent demographic, a powerful demographic, it turns out, when it comes to local elections. And additionally, in terms of the election results, Dems held the governorship in Kentucky by a pretty close race, I'm pretty sure. Like, really, really close. Hold on. I'm completely mistaken. Not only did the Republicans fail to retake Kentucky, they lost it by a full 5 points. Wow. Okay. Yeah, well, that's what I get for having no faith. I wasn't that worried about the results here, partly because I feel like the previous success we had in Ohio yet was a positive sign, and also partly because a lot of the worries that I've been having lately about the viability of the Democrats in the form of Biden are more of a Biden-specific thing. Like, the past month or so, Biden's approval rating among Democrats has plummeted in large part because of his disgusting endorsement of the Israeli genocide in Gaza, and I still think that's a huge problem, both, morally, with the whole endorsing a genocide thing, and also in terms of electability, because as unlikable as he is right now, we still want Biden to win rather than Trump. So, it is what it is. I wasn't too worried about the current unpopularity of Biden transferring over to the rest of the party that much, because I think the Gaza thing is mostly seen as like Biden behavior, or at the very least like a national issue with the behavior of, Democratic congressmen, as opposed to like a central issue of the Democratic Party. So I'm glad that didn't really transfer over. The victories in local elections are huge, not only because of their immediate outcomes. I mean, obviously, winning elections is good, but also because I think that people who vote in local elections tend to be a little bit more connected to the issues. They tend to be less following a trend, because far more people go out and vote every 4 years for the president. Like, that's the big one, But showing up in 2023 to do their voting, that's a little bit more higher degree of investment. I think that the fact that those people, I mean, we saw a victory for Democrats here, makes me feel like the people who care the most, the people who are the most involved, the people who have the strongest connection to their local community are, well, breaking in our favor, which is good. I like it when good things happen. That's also good. Yeah, so just a bit of good news. We've had a lot of bad news lately. I think it's important to sort of not really break even there, not even close actually, but at least try to moderate that, the negativity of the news a little bit. Either way, I will be back to stream soon. I hope you all are doing well. Take heart with the good news. All right, it's meaningful. So enjoy that, and I'll see you guys soon.